as of next week, it is official. The Boyscast will be officially moving to its own YouTube channel. If you're an audio listener, this doesn't pertain to you, but if you're a YouTube listener, this is the spot. In the comments, there's going to be the channel link. In the description, there's going to be a channel link. If I'm able to figure it out, there might be one on the screen right now. Everyone's talking about it. I even heard I was at the coffee shop, and they're like, "That's the guy that's moving the channel."
Yeah, he's the moving.
He's moving the channel. Oh my god, that's the guy with the big dick.
And they go, "Did you hear about that other stuff though?" And they go, "Yeah."
They said, "Here he's moving his channel. He's got a fucking huge big with the guy with the big coast." And then the coast.
He's walking.
He's moving. You see, do not kick him in the shin when he moves his new channel. That's what they said.
Yeah.
So we've been talking about it for a while. The channel's officially there, which is going to lead.
This is the last episode.
This is the last episode on this main channel. And if you could do anything, it's sub to this channel right now because we need it to come in with a bang. And the Clips channel will also be under this description. So follow both of them. But if there's one favor, there'll probably be more favors, but this is the main one.
Yeah. There's this guy who's been giving me a hard time.
Even if you're a casual listener, please subscribe. We need this.
We fucking need this.
Run the intro.
And you can tell our friends, and they can have my things when we're dead. But we gonna live forever. We gonna live forever.
The Boyscast
coming in.
Take your girlfriend, lock her in the dungeon, close the dungeon, go upstairs, time to play video games.
And if you don't have a dungeon, go to Home Depot. Be like, "Where's your dungeon supplies aisle?"
Yeah, and then your girlfriend goes,
"I'd like to build a dungeon."
She goes, "Oh, honey, are you working on a man cave?" And you go, "Yes."
Yes. That seems like kind of like I would be like a Nelk Boys where they go like Home Depot. They go, "Yeah, I'm trying to like lock my girl in the basement."
Oh, yeah?
Where do I find the supplies for that? Should she never leave?
Excuse me, mister, why do you happen to have a cage in this alleged man cave? You go, "Because you can't fucking listen to Boyscast, that's why." And also, Danny you sort of had a pretty good prediction, actually, because you said probably like months ago, you said long COVID, you're going to hear over the next little bit, everyone talking about long COVID, right?
And that it's the new fake ailment.
Right. Yeah. So
new hot fake ailment.
The new hot fake ailment. And they've done, it's kind of, we saw in Canada, they have this article that they're basically saying there needs to be more representation for invisible disabilities. And it's all the ones that like, it'll be, invisible disabilities are like, I'm tired a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And basically,
which didn't used to be a disability. That used to be grounds for being fired.
Not wanting to go to work. Yeah.
I'm too tired and just depressed to go to work. And they go, "Okay, you're fired."
Yes, and you're going to fire a disabled guy. You know what I mean? So basically, they just did, this is like the actual like hub of coronavirus, like release information places. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this one's on Globe and Mail and says coronavirus update because they get the updates, right? It's sort of how the daily, the hot off the press. They give everyone.
Hey, coronavirus.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? What they have the news where it's like anyone
newswire.
could go. Yeah, anyone could just print this, right?
Yeah.
And then they have the coronavirus updates. Everyone just gets the same
like
ones.
the bureaus.
And they said long COVID is taking a toll on the careers of mental health of women.
On the careers and mental health of women.
The careers and mental health of
You really
women.
botched that line, man. Wow. That was a mouthful.
That's the thing. I'm going to learn to read on the new channel. There's lots of things that are happening.
But you could blame that on long COVID.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
Well, there's so many funny things about it, but the first sort of funny thing about it is that it's just same thing they did with the invisible disabilities. They were saying it's like women.
Yeah.
And it's just like everything. It's like it's either true or it's not, but they're just like, when they say that it's affecting women more, what they mean is they've asked a bunch of women if they're experiencing fatigue.
Yeah, I go, "Are you tired?" And they go, "I've always been tired." And you go, "You want an excuse for that?"
Long COVID, and there's reason to believe maybe your chick won't be going into work.
Any chance? What are the odds that your next album is called Long COVID?
100%. Maybe this job will be
better than the last.
That guy was apparently a pussy crusher, by the way.
Oh, was Adam Duritz a pussy crusher? What? Really? Get out.
Maybe he kind of looks like you if you got dreads, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I see him now because he's just like, he reminds me so much of just like every kind of just whatever fucking dopey Jewish guy I knew, and
Right.
but he just happened to be like a fucking hit maker.
Jewish people more than other people when they
Control the.
more than other people, I find. Maybe Indian dudes a little bit, but when they get successful, they really become like hounds.
Yeah.
Like I know a couple different like Jewish. That's a more
The Pussy Crushers.
hounds. You know what I mean? But
I don't know if I know any successful Jews really.
yeah, I've never heard of him either. That's his new.
It's a conspiracy, Ryan. Long.
COVID.
Ryan just wants to get a bunch of conspiracies out before we move to the new channel.
Maybe this job will be easier than the last. So basically, you know,
The question is how long until this is the twilight, or not twilight, but this is like the heyday for blaming stuff on long COVID.
oh my God, dude, anything.
But it'll go away.
But it's only
it'll get
chicks,
abused and.
This
Well,
is the
that's
thing.
if anything, because we have a lot of male listeners. If anything, it's really the sweet spot for guys.
We need to get on
because
this.
there's probably so few guys who have the nerve to say I have long COVID.
Yeah,
can't
that's
do
why
my
I couldn't
job."
get my assignment in.
So
on
now is
time.
really the time where you can do it.
Yo, why'd you bust so quick? Ugh, long COVID.
Long COVID.
What?
Brain.
Jenny,
fog.
why do you have receipts from the bathhouse and you go, honestly, long COVID? It's fucking affecting me so much, man.
Also, I have monkeypox.
Forgot your birthday. Baby, baby, baby. That is sort of what it is.
Will anybody have
right?
long COVID and long monkeypox at the same time?
Yeah. I can't believe that you forgot my birthday. Long COVID. So basically, all of the things, brain fog's the main one, right?
Yeah, because we live in a society where everybody's glued to their phones, which is kind of scrambling your brain a bit.
Uh-huh.
So for them to be like, oh, this is this brain fog, which is probably because of social media and just spending 5 hours a day on your phone, but then they're like, oh no, it's.
It could be from a million things. You know what I mean?
I'll
it
tell you
could
what
be
it's
from
not
just
likely
being a
from.
woman. It's sort of a chicken and egg situation, right? There you go. All these women have brain fog from COVID, or do these women, do they have brain fog because they're a woman?
Yeah.
Researchers look at the long-term effects of COVID-19 have found they seem to affect women more significantly than men, and there's no clear respite in sight. But
Yeah.
respite. This is all based on a study where they asked them.
Also, how do you quantify
Are you
brain
tired?
fog?
Well, you can't. This is an
That is-
invisible disability.
That is such a be like, okay, so what was your fogginess level? I imagine it's a spectrum, right?
yeah,
'Cause it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
fog. It's literal
No,
fog.
you either
right?
have it or you
so
don't,
it's not like
right?
a blanket where you can't see, so you're like, so what was it before COVID? You go, probably like
little foggy. Now
little
it's super
foggy, now super foggy.
Well, but there is something to be said about like, if you get sick, maybe you're kind of like something for 2 days, but it's like 6 months later being like, I can't go to work.
No. I fully believe that people have long COVID in the sense where they have like lung capacity issues, and they could probably be like, yeah, I like can't run ever.
But your
again.
brain's all foggy.
No,
all
but the
time?
thing where I just have brain fog. You're like, that's my only thing is I'm tired and I have brain fog.
Well, you
I'm
know
like,
what?
Sounds like you're depressed.
It's possible that people have this and it's true or whatever, but even if that is the case, it's going to be 1% of the people that are saying this actually have it.
For sure,
It's
for
a
sure.
catch-all.
100%. But I'm saying like the people who you should feel bad about are the people who are like, yeah, I can't go for a walk anymore. It
Yes.
exhausts me. And you go, could you walk before? And you go, yes. And you go, okay.
There's going to be a lot of people going to the doctor. It's like 800 pounds. You know what I mean? It's just like, doctor, I think my long COVID's acting up. I can't get up the stairs. And the doctor's like, you're 1,100 pounds. And you go, yeah. That's
and
the
I
same
have
as
long COVID.
Yeah, I know, right? So long COVID might be affecting me even more because there's more body for the long COVID to get involved with. So that was your prediction.
It sucks that we're pieces of shit too, because if you're a big enough piece of shit in your regular life, you can't really use that because people sniff it
They
out.
say anxieties because of long COVID. This is one of the things they go. Difficulty maintaining focus. Yeah, but difficulty maintaining focus. That's for sure. Some of all this social media and everything like that.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you want to say debilitating fatigue, that can be something. But you go anxieties because of long COVID.
Yeah, but well, sure. But again, debilitating is you wake up, you go, you look at your alarm clock, you go, I'm pretty sure I had long COVID. You just fucking go back to bed and you go, is it debilitating or did you just kind of get comfortable in COVID, not having to do a lot of shit?
This is the normal workplace, I guess, is sort of different where there is some element when you have a normal job where it's, it's take advantage of as much as you can without getting fucking found out, right?
Of course.
But in like any other sort of thing, like imagine, it's always funny, imagine a guy like on the oil rig being like, I can't, you guys got to go carry this one. I'm going to stay down here. I got long COVID. And everyone's just like, yeah, don't come in tomorrow. How about that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. There's like,
you know what? I'm going to cut you at 12, I think.
Construction workers being like, hey, I got that long COVID. So
What, he's smoking a cigarette?
Yeah, totally.
Sorry,
Diminished
boys.
lung capacity. Anyways, I got brain fog, so I'll be back in 6 months.
I got what the doctor calls brain fog. And then they also did another one. Just really, because I just love when there's probably no real reason why any of these things would hurt more, but it's kind of at the beginning of COVID, they were doing just like 100 articles on why things were worse for women, right? Mm-hmm. But this one, they said why climate change is worse for women. And some of the things, so this was like a star article and DW.com, but some of the reasons they came up with. So they were just saying, in Bangladesh, 9 times more women were killed by men by Cyclone Jorky. So they're like, it's worse for men because this one cyclone that happened, more women were like around the area that it killed them in.
Oh, the cyclone.
Yeah, and then they go, in Australia, twice as many women as men wanted to excavate to safety during devastating bushfires in 2019. In Kenya, women were last in line to receive food during a 2016 drought. So it's like... They're fucking being like, well, they're just picking like very circumstantial things where they go, they had a food line in Nigeria and the woman was last in line.
Yes,
so that's another reason climate change is worse for them.
Therefore, women are worse off.
Yeah, but you go
across the board.
Okay, but in North America, you go, okay, so if in New York City there's a food shortage, do you think it's going to be women at the back of the line?
No.
Okay, so obviously that's not the case.
So I guess they don't do in Kenya the women and kids first thing, huh? Fucking based Kenya.
Well, I think their argument was the men have to like do the harder work. Like they don't.
Super based. They go, look, we fucking work all day. We're first in line for food. You ladies get to the fucking back.
Yeah, but the second part of that is, well, why do they have to work all day? It's like because the girls get to stay home with kids, and this guy has to go to a salt mine, and they're like, look at this. This motherfucker has the nerve to get food first. And you're just like, well, yeah, he has to now go to the salt mine for 12 hours. So yeah, you're right. That's
getting second portions of gruel.
yeah. This guy's getting a second portion of gruel. Are we? And then, obviously the going to war thing or whatever, right? You got to go die, right?
Yeah, the suicides.
But by these, it's just such a funny way to do it because all they're doing is picking one thing, and you go, okay, crime affects men more than women. It's like, why? It's like, well, more men are shot by criminals or whatever. You just go down the line of anything and try to put it in that society. But these ones, some of them are so fucking funny. They said during droughts, women and girls are forced to walk further when they go to fetch water. So the places, and that also places them at greater risk of sexual violence. So it's like,
yeah, I mean, I believe that, but also like, what's the guy doing in that scenario? Like fighting a fucking elk or something? Like
so crazy, right?
He's like,
they're just like,
I guess not. An elk.
Okay, so climate change affects women worse than men, and the reason for that is because, well, when some of the water dries up, the people in society who have to go get water have to walk farther for the water, and if they're walking farther, then maybe they'll get raped.
Yeah,
like that's the pitch.
Yeah, cut to her husband fucking punching a bison in the face or something, being like, just die already.
But it's like, usually it's like if they're doing a list of 80 things.
What was the source?
It's like
of this
number
dribble?
81, DW.com.
Oh, DW.
Number 1 is reasonable. And then, number 40, it starts to be like, the watering hole is a little farther for them to walk to. These guys are out of the gate.
This almost becomes like an exercise.
Uh-huh.
Where you go like, how many things can I think of that are logically make sense?
Yeah. And they said also, some countries around the world, women eat after the men. So this is what they're saying. And it's like in those countries, it's worse. It's like, yeah, well, okay, you could, any country where, for example, like storms, right? Most men are hydro workers, right? Yeah. So it's like, and that's like a dangerous job, and some people die doing hydro, and you go, okay, so every time there's like a really bad storm, the people that have to go on the electrical wires, like the ones that actually fall and die or fall and, get disabilities, that's a dude more times. And you go, okay, well, I think at the very least that evens out your argument that this girl has to walk farther to the watering hole.
Yeah, I know you think that.
Just such a crazy pitch, man.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's not. This is kind of very theoretical argument making.
Here's another good one. So too much water can have devastating effects. So floods that displace people or destroy toilets make more sanitation products scarce. So another reason that it's worse for girls is if there's like a flood, it could ruin some of the toilets, and then girls won't be able to go bleed into the toilets.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
This is the kind of shit that, you know what I mean?
This is the kind of thing where you could never have this debate in person.
Not a chance.
You can't be like, oh, okay, and arguing for women is so and so, and then arguing for men is, and you're like, and then you say this stuff, and you're like,
yeah, well, it's like a chick you're dating or whatever telling you like, you don't think it was harder for me? For example, I had to walk, I had to walk 1 mile farther, and you just be like, okay, well, I had to do this.
She goes, we're talking about me right now, Ryan. We're not talking about you. Such a man thing to do.
And then I admit at the end of their article, they go, there is some things that affect men more. And they go, in the U.S., men are twice as likely to die from heat-related illnesses than women because of the jobs that they do. And you're just like, okay, well, isn't it pretty much? Wouldn't you now say? So our thesis turns out to be wrong. Like at that point,
if you're a chump because you read to the bottom. That's they put it at the end.
Women aren't allowed to have sanitation things. Sometimes they have to walk further to the watering hole.
One time, stoned more.
Well, that would probably not have anything to do with the climate change.
But you don't think that maybe like erosion's making the rocks like smoother and then they work better?
What do you think about this for a meme?
Wind erosion.
Danny Polishuk, adulterers in India, getting stoned.
Pretty good.
You shake with the handshake me.
Some bending guitar notes.
Yeah. Danny at his Grateful Dead concerts. Those who went against the great Allah.
I feel like I'm not far off contributing to this list though with my wind erosion stones.
What's your wind erosion stone?
What I just said, the wind erosion makes the stones smoother and then they're more impactful, so it's worse
You're
for
right.
women, right?
You're right.
I'm not way off.
No, you're right. It's not that off of the type of stuff they're saying.
Yeah.
We have the best fucking Reddit thread later, too, in the episode. So me and Danny, TJ Miller, did a viewing party for the Norm Macdonald thing. So the Norm Macdonald came out with this new special, which basically just did his material on Zoom. And then he put together this, maybe 20 of us that watched it on a screen. So it was kind of like watching in front of an audience. And it was very, very cool, right?
It was really funny.
Also, I'm just very impressed with the thing that I was always... Like when I watched the Ricky Gervais special, I thought one of the things that I thought was good about him was that his misdirections, they always, you actually don't, he doesn't pick a thing that he doesn't agree with and then misdirect. So a lot of people will start with, for example, they would do a joke like, if you think about it, I think women are stronger than men. And then they'll do something. But when they do that, women are stronger as men. But you go, what? You think that? It seems like something you don't think. Like, yeah. Or as a girl go, I actually think that Trump winning's good because he should get killed.
Where's he going with this one?
Everyone's thinking, where are you going with this one? Because you don't actually think that. So what I liked about Ricky Gervais was the positive thing I liked about him was his misdirections. He goes, like when he says, I know what it's like. It's probably hard to be, a minority where you're 1% or 5%, and and it feels like you're sticking the world, whereas I'm a rich white multimillionaire or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And that seems like what it is already, you know what I mean? And then he switches and then he goes, and we're only, 1%. So imagine how I feel.
Yeah.
But there was no point where you go, why does he think that? So I always hate jokes like that. I do sometimes where I'll do a joke where to get to it, I need to say something that I too much don't agree with. And I hate the way that it like makes me feel where everyone's brain starts wandering and it kind of changes and then you change it back, but the damage is already done.
For sure.
So I don't love that.
Well, because it also sows the seeds of like people, because it honestly sows a little distrust. in the audience where they go,
Exactly.
you just lost like a little bit of my trust for future jokes.
That's so what it is.
And if you're trying to rely on this surprise, and then they kind of like they see it coming a little more now.
Yeah.
Right? Because they were like, well, you lied to me back there. So
yeah, it's
now
like,
I'm looking out for lies.
So the Norm Macdonald special, I thought it was the thing specifically that stuck out to me was he's just like the best at making like complex points without ever doing any sort of even like a little bit of preachiness.
Yeah.
He's like the least preachy comedian that has like so many good points and hypocrisies.
Well, because he plays like almost... He plays
so dumb.
He plays so dumb because he has that kind of like hosiery, he's like a talk like just this slow and very Canadian.
I'm just so dumb. Yeah.
You kind of, like, I mean, he doesn't like not the way
because I was the head of the curve on liking sluts on account of if we were mean to sluts, they'd stop being sluts.
The flight attendant joke was so funny. That was like,
what was that again?
The best one. The one where he goes, when I was the female flight attendants, they called them stewardesses, and then he's like, and then the male flight attendants, because there was male flight attendants, and we called them what do we call them? And like literally in your head, you're answering it, and he goes, wait, what were you gonna say?
Exactly.
Like he's talking to the audience.
No, it's so true because a lot of people would make that joke. They would have been like, "We call them gays."
Yeah, and the thing is, you naturally
a bit
want
of me,
to predict the joke.
A bit of me was thinking, I was like, "He's not gonna do that joke."
I know, totally, right?
And then he got me.
Yeah, he got me too. That's why I was like, "Oh man, that was," and it kind of used the format well.
Yeah, he made his joke. He was making fun of the format of. He was making you made your point without actually making it.
And you're on this Zoom thing, and but it was fucking. That joke was so good.
Yeah, so it's just so cool. But the reason I was bringing up comedy is there's a little bit of controversy. Yeah. So.
By the way, this is kind of probably a good time to announce it, but I just signed up. I'm going to be doing a residency at Rumors Comedy.
There you go.
Winnipeg, Manitoba.
American comedians' racist remarks spark walkout at Winnipeg Comedy Show. Now, this is Rich Voss, who we know. And the funny part out of the gate is that this is not news.
No.
Like, you can see why people are like, you know what? I don't want to go to, like, comedians in America are just like, I don't want to go to Canada and deal with all this shit. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Whereas most comedy club owners, their take is like, listen, I'm not obviously going to be pandering to the one person in the crowd that's complaining all the time, because if I do, no comedians will want to come here. But these guys, they sort of have a thing of, we need to placate that so much that you're kind of not on the side of the comedians.
Yeah. And also this became a news story. I'm sure, dude, how many comedy club shows have you been to where like a bachelorette table is like, fuck this, or they get yelled at?
Oh my God.
That's not news.
It is not news that in a weekend of 5 shows, a table who was like loud and drinking and yelling and stuff like that didn't like the show.
Yeah, didn't like getting yelled at by the comic.
No, it's so crazy, right? So basically what he did, an Ojibwe woman says that, so it's like a First Nations person, and she says she was among at least 30 people who walked out on Rumors Comedy Club on Wednesday in Winnipeg on Friday due to a number of racist and homophobic comics they heard on stage. Kelsey Lenigan says she was almost immediately turned off by Rich Voss's set, which included what she called targeted harassment towards a table of Indigenous women. Okay, so my chat groups are blowing up with people sending me this.
Yeah, of course. This is,
But okay, there's a few different things. The first part is, okay, if you go to a comedy club and you go, hey, we're the comedy club that just has a comedian every night and it's something for everyone. But it's another thing when you have a pretty famous comedian who's been doing comedy for 25 years and most of the people there are his audience.
Yeah. I mean, clearly not these ones.
But the moral of the whole story is...
Although I would say with something like Rumors, because it's like in Winnipeg, probably I would say less than 50% are there specifically for him,
right.
I would guess.
So there is a bit like of that.
This is
but
more of a generic
you can still
club.
say, listen, if you are going to a comedy club and you're very sensitive about certain things...
Don't.
Look, sure, but just look at the comedian who's there. It's so simple.
Yeah.
Like, imagine me going to a concert and then Insane Clown Posse's playing, and then I get covered in pop, and I'm like, I'm writing articles like, I went to this concert. I have the right to go to watch a musical artist without being covered in Faygo soda.
Yeah.
And you go, well, did you look up who's that's
on me?
Oh, so I can't just go to a venue that's advertising a specific comedian playing, and I have to see what he does?
Yeah. You know what's funny too is that comedy forever was one size fits all, and then they got rid of one size fits all.
Not when people are famous, though.
But I'm saying they got rid of it in the sense of one size fits all comedy, where they go like, look, if if you're a specific thing, like, and you want a specific thing, that now exists for comedy.
Okay.
Whereas it used to just be like, you show up and here's the comic and that's it. Like they might have a different weekend, but like there's something for you. You just showed up, like you said, on the wrong fucking night, and then you're complaining. But the only thing is like, it was a drunk, belligerent table. He goes, he's making comments about them being drunk. They happen to be First Nations.
Yeah.
And they go, oh, you're saying this because we're indigenous. And he's like, no, I'm saying this because you're a drunk, belligerent table who happens to be indigenous.
Yeah.
But that's not like why I'm yelling at you.
And it is possible he doesn't necessarily know the intricacies of how sensitive the, First Nation stuff is.
One of his big things is he goes, oh, something about like, he made some joke about like, oh, if what was that, at a flea market or like a talent show? He goes, you guys would be making dream catchers. And I was saying, it's like, that's like you see a table of fucking Jewish people, like Carolines, you see it, and you go, oh, you guys probably, if there was a talent show, you guys would be making bagels. And they're like, I never.
Yeah.
Like, it's in terms of fucking, that's like nothing.
Nothing that crazy.
Nothing.
No, it's nothing that crazy. But that native stuff is very, very sensitive there, right? And there is something to said about, obviously you just handle things a little differently sometimes when you if you do those kind of First Nations jokes anywhere in America, it's like nothing. Like whereas Canada, it's like it's
the equivalent of a race. It would be like whatever.
It'd be like doing a black joke in the George Floyd peak, right? It just is a little like more sensitive, but whatever. Yeah. You still can do whatever you want. But the bottom line is, if you go to a club and it's like, hey, there's 10 comics on the bill, like in the city or whatever, right? I get not that I agree with, but if you want to go and you go, this club, like all the comics are just fucking this and that, I don't like that club or whatever. But it's another thing when it's like their name's on the marquee, it's their weekend, and you go, this guy's here all weekend long.
Yeah.
And then you go to some so-and-so's show that's their fucking thing, and then you have the nerve
and
to
then
be
you're interrupting the show.
And then you're interrupting the show.
Like, nobody said, they're like, oh, we were just minding our business, politely enjoying the show, and then he saw that we were indigenous and started targeting us for that. Like, that's not what happened.
No.
They're like, we were interrupting the show. And he has a thing,
which we've all seen a trillion times.
But also Voss has a thing where he says to the security, he says, if people interrupt, don't do anything.
Which I thought was interesting, yeah.
Well, he
does a lot of crowd work.
I
watched him do, 40 minutes of crowd work. That's even more so. Imagine going to a comedian that, like, kind of their whole thing is crowd work and being mad that, like, talking shit about people in the audience. Yeah. Like, kind of the whole deal.
For sure. Absolutely.
But I don't, that's crazy. Yeah, I'm always like, I like the idea that the security gets the show in order. I mean, I do like whatever 10 minutes of crowd work, but mostly I do my act.
So does most people who are there trying to watch the show.
They're watching the show want the security to be like, hey, shut up or we're kicking you out.
Yeah, like...
When I toured with Steve-O, he kicked 8 people out of his theater show within the first, like, minute.
Really?
Yeah, people came out and the people were yelling and stuff like that. He kind of started, they wouldn't stop. He goes, you're out. Someone's up, you're out. It was like 10 people were kicked out in the first minute, and then everyone's just like, zip.
Funny too, because they're like, man, Steve-O's the coolest, and then like 10 minutes later he goes, I hate Steve-O. Not cool.
But to me, that's why you want security to kick them out, because there's nothing worse than like being on stage and being like, all right, get him the hell out of here. Yeah. Okay, you're out.
You're not the cool, funny guy
you can't, it's hard, yeah, you want to be having fun. You don't want to be enforcing rules of the club. 100%. You know what I mean?
And he, for him, he's just like, yeah, I'm so good at crowd work where he fucking, I don't want one, he's like, I'm going to say crazy shit, and I don't want you to stop it. We're going to make a fucking wild house.
That's correct, yeah. So the American comedian also made a joke about hoping the women would get ticketed for driving under the influence on the way home, she recalled. Which, again, if you have a table of really drunk people at a show heckling and you being like, I hope these guys get... He didn't even say, I hope you die going home. He goes, I hope these people get a ticket.
Yeah, get a DUI.
But like that is such the out of what you could have said. That's pretty tame.
But again, more importantly, he didn't say, I hope you get a ticket because you're indigenous.
No.
He goes, I hope you get a ticket because you're drunk and disruptive.
Right. So CBC,
They're the ones who are being like, oh, this is because of our heritage. And you're like, no, it's not.
well, I think that what should have happened is Will Smith should have came on the stage and punched him out.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically, you have a situation where the headline could read, "Area woman didn't like show." It's like, imagine you going to a movie and just being like, they get to write an article where it's like, not my favorite.
Yeah. I mean, goddamn, if that happened every single time.
But comedy is really the only thing that happened. Like, there's no way that people would ever, go to a rap, like they would ever watch a rap show and then have the person, screaming profanities. I'm going to kill this person and that person. And then there's no way these places would write this about a rap show. It's only comedy that gets this treatment.
Like, imagine like fucking some some Puerto Ricans from like Brooklyn or like rappers and they or Dominicans or whatever. And
Yeah.
They go to Winnipeg to do a show and they're just dropping the N-bomb nonstop because that's what they do.
dropping N-bomb or F-bomb.
And they're just like, they can't say that. I'm offended.
Yeah, there's no way they would do that article. So, Rumors Nightclub has an ethical responsibility to ensure that people are safe from insensitive racial ambushes. And this is the case where with comedy clubs, it's like, well, they have what they actually have is a like choices. You know how they say there's no right or wrong, there's only like choices. And you have the choice. The bottom line is, I'll bet you a lot of people at that club were there because they're like, oh, Rich Voss is here, he says wild shit, that'll be fun, right?
Of course.
So if you say, oh, by the way, you're not going to see anything wild at this show, it's like, well, yeah, you can be a different kind of comedy club, and then some other club will be like, yeah, we're the one that we stand behind our comedians. And also you can say, like, no one does wild racial stuff, and then like, if it's not going good, most people are just like, fuck, that I didn't, like, obviously you hoped it would kill.
Oh, yeah.
No one wants to walk 30 people, but sometimes it is what it is. You're in a hole.
I mean,
everyone's been there.
Another thing is I want to talk to the people who went there for Rich Voss. What did you think? They're like, probably like, it was the best.
They're like, oh, that show was hilarious. He kicked a bunch of people out.
He just fucking got in a fight with a bunch of drunk people.
How many times have you've like some woman got kicked out and you got in a big fight and she was offended. Remember that Jewish lady that was offended with you? And just like everyone else that came up to us after was like, oh, that's so hilarious how you handled that woman.
Yeah, of course. Always.
Yeah, I'm sure some of these lines were killing, right?
I don't even know how this gets in the fucking CBC.
But also,
how does this get to be in the news?
Because everything.
But I'm saying, what's like the order of operations?
I'll tell you what
here?
happened. She posted on Facebook and stuff, and it went like semi-viral, and then someone tagged CBC, and they go, yes. But they go, so when they say the comedy club has an ethical responsibility to make sure people are safe, right? But you don't have any whatsoever responsibility to look up who you're going to see.
Yeah.
It's like the responsibility is like entirely on the artist to be like, hey, maybe someone who doesn't know me is going to come watch my show, so I should change it just in case that happens. It's like
I guess what I'll say is these people their baseline belief is that there should be no racial attacks at comedy shows, period. So they're like, I'd say they'd be like, well, I shouldn't even have to because I shouldn't.
Well, who gets to decide what's an attack? Like a lot of it's like joking around.
It's, if anything, they were the aggressors.
If anything, they were the aggressors. But like, the thing is, they have all their rules, but you go, if a bunch of people were friends and joking around and, making like, all this fucking Guido or whatever, did they say that's okay for friends to do it? And they're like, yes. Okay, well, why? So if that's fine with friends, most people, especially in front of their fans, like that's the dynamic you have where you're like, it's kind of a good crowd is like your friends.
I'm sure Voss has had a million instances where he goes out, makes fun of someone for their because this whole thing is the ball breaking, right?
Yeah,
so he makes fun of them for their thing, whatever their thing happens to be, and they love it. They go, oh man, he was talking about this, and they're like, it was so funny.
Right.
But, sometimes you run into fucking...
And again, these people can have a bad time and he could, change it or not change it or whatever. But what the crazy part is that now the CBC, who knows what this comedy club owner actually thinks, but they get ambushed by, hey, there's an article coming out.
Oh, they made the dumbest... Their way they handled this could not have been worse.
No, I don't think that was the right way to handle it.
Because actually, you'll get way more earned, like like business and
by
be
saying
cool or be like,
we don't give a shit.
yeah, we don't give a shit, and people will be like, oh, that's a cool comedy club. I'm not trying to please every single person.
Was not the move, for
dude.
them.
You see what he said?
It's nuts what he said.
Fucking, he goes, what is it? If we have comedians, he goes, if we have comedians come here, these are certain things that you can't touch base on. These are areas that shouldn't be talked about. Oh no, sorry, that's what the person said. The fucking what is it?
He says the comedians.
Oh, he advises comedians against jokes that would be very offensive. This is the Booker.
Yeah, I know.
Because I advise comedians against jokes that could be.
Can you fucking imagine?
Including sexually explicit. You show up at a comedy club and the Booker goes, yo, just so you know, sex stuff off the table. You go, all right, that's fucking 90% of every comedian's
what
act.
Are you talking about? She's like, dude, if I show up to a comedy club, he goes, by the way, no race stuff, sex stuff, gender stuff. And you go, what?
And there's no shortage.
Like, no, that's not what I do.
But Canada and everywhere has no shortage of those comedians. Like, you can find some guy who will gladly sleepwalk through his act from the 90s.
Then don't book this guy. Don't book Voss.
That's what I'm saying, though. Like, this guy is saying, and you're like, those guys exist. Like, there's these squeaky clean comedians who most
but they don't draw. None of them have audiences. The bottom line is they want to bring in these people with audiences, and most of the people, like, I would say, 70% of the people that have audiences, like, their fucking comedy isn't like corporate clean.
Yeah, for sure.
Because no one wants to watch that unless they're being forced to at their office barbecue.
Again, and I'm sure Rumors brings in some big dry bar guy.
As
one of their weekends.
But I know dry bar guys, and a lot of those dry bar guys are actually dirty. They just did one dry bar set.
They lied to you.
Yeah, well, a lot of those dry bar guys did one 20-minute set clean, and then now they're back to not being dry bar guys.
Yeah.
Because they had a good place to do a special, So they go, he says, this is the best part. He goes, afterwards, this is the owner of the comedy club. He goes, he tried to educate Voss on how his jokes were perceived by the audience and says the comedians seemed to have no idea how offensive they were. And in a culture so quick to cancel people, I decide that I want to educate people. And it's like, he's been doing comedy for 30 years.
Oh, that would be... He probably must have been just like...
Getting educated by the comedy club owner after your set. And first of all, everyone's heard all the arguments. There's no new argument where, you've been doing comedy for 30 years. You walk a table one night. You're touring all over the place, right? You do 7 sets in a weekend. You do one set where, a table of drunk people gets mad and walks out and says you're offensive, right? And then the owner comes up to you and he's like, hey, sit down. Like, this would be a teachable moment. Yeah. You're just like, what?
Hey, Ryan, we got to talk.
No, I'm not, I'm not here to cancel you. I'm just a teachable moment. I know that you've released 10 hours of comedy in your career, but that 11th hour is going to be a little different, isn't it?
I've been watching a lot of comedy. I watch in my line of work, and the stuff that people like is the stuff that doesn't make them upset.
Yeah. Well, and it's a self-fulfilling prophecy where now, if they go out and do CBC articles, by the way, we're the safe thing, that guy's been reprimanded, we won't have him back again. It's like, now you're going to get more of the crybabies. Dude, if you have a business like a shop or something like that, right? The old adage where 20% of your clients are going to give you 80% of the trouble? Mm-hmm. Those are not the people to placate to. They're the
people you want to get rid of.
You want to get rid of.
Yeah, so you want to be like, never come back here.
Why are you running a comedy club and you want to attract the people that are going to complain? You go, hey, you can hold me to it. There's never gonna have that happen again. Well, guess what? It's gonna happen again.
Of course it's
and now it's gonna be worse because you've pledged allegiance to. You're never gonna hear about it.
Honestly,
I was not the move, right?
Even some of the
crazy.
Even some of like the not cleaner, but like kind of more bitchy comedy clubs that I know of still would not do this.
No,
like if the CBC was like, hey, did you have a comment? They'd be like, yeah, I don't know, shit happens.
We don't censor a comment.
We gave them a refund. I don't know. They can. There's fucking clean comedy shows. They can go see.
Well, they don't want a refund. They've said they weren't even. They want him to be banned from the country kind of thing, right?
Yeah. And what do they want? They want a fucking like a code of conduct, an official code of. So then the comedians show up and go, hey, can you just read the code of conduct? Just initial there, and then a signature there and a date just to confirm.
What other business though? It's like, what other business that someone that doesn't do the thing, doesn't know anything about the thing, is giving the comedy club rules for what that they could do? It's just like this bizarro world where they have this, amplification of any sort. You're like, yeah, this is the whole thing is woman didn't like show.
Yeah. Just a group at a table.
Drunk, belligerent, heckling woman.
Yes.
Also wasn't a fan of the jokes.
Yeah. But again, it's like, I wasn't there. But my guess is he was probably just doing his thing. It probably wasn't being racist or anything. And then they were just being fucking belligerent. And that's like when it started. They 100%. Like, I'm sure that comedy club is like, yeah, we probably normally would have kicked that table out. But except for that, Rich Voss asked us not to. Like, their probably policy is to kick them out.
Yeah, maybe maybe that's not the best policy. Well, you can't tell the comedian. If the comedian goes, I want to fucking.
I
really think that, how social media companies a little bit when it's coming to censoring and not censoring, they're like, hey, can we just have laws so we can not be involved in it almost? You know what I mean? I don't want to be like the arbiter. Some of them at least will say that as an argument. I feel that as a comedian, it's like, I don't want someone that's like talking the whole time and ruining the show. But I also like, hey, just be a comedy club and have, rules or whatever. You know what I mean?
Rules
the
are
same as like a bar.
not funny.
You know what I mean? Yeah, but like if you're a bar, you're like, and it's and you have a show or whatever, right? And someone's walking around punching people in the face, like I'm the band on stage, like. Yeah, probably the bar should kick that person out, but I just don't really. Why is it like my job?
Yeah, why is it
it's
my
like
job?
if you have people that like won't shut up and they're ruining it for everyone else, it kind of is just. I'm not this. I don't want to be the bouncer at my own show.
It's not, 100%. Again, not cool for the comedian to be kicking people out.
It just isn't cool.
It's just not cool. Rules aren't cool. It's not cool to be kicking people out.
Rules aren't cool, man.
Rules aren't cool, man.
Anyway, shout out Rich Voss. Yeah. Just going to take a quick second here to tell the boys about one of our sponsors we know and love, Keeps, for hair loss now. 2 out of 3 men have experienced some sort of hair loss by the time they're 35. So if you're by the time you get into your mid-30s, there's almost no one that's not even thinning a little bit, right? More than 50 million men in the U.S. suffer from male pattern baldness. This is why you want to get on Keeps. Offers a simple, affordable, and stress-free way to keep your hair. Convenient virtual doctor consultations and medications delivered straight to your door every 3 months. You don't have to go to these pervert doctors. You know what I mean? You go to a pervert doctor in real life. He's doing all sorts of weird stuff. You don't know. They could fat shame you, for example. You cannot trust a doctor. They might make you step on a scale. You don't know what they're. So that's why.
Finger up your butt?
Yes. You don't even have to have your pants on for this doctor. So you could be the pervert while you're doing the consultation. You don't have to leave your home. 24/7 care and support keeps his network of expert medical advisors, prescribers, and care specialists to support you in making your hair loss goals a reality. Low cost, much lower than some of the other ones that are around. Treatments start at just $10 a month, and Keeps offers a generic versions to the 2 FDA-approved medications to prevent hair loss. Keeps has everything your hair needs delivered straight to your door with discreet packaging and proven results, so no one's going to know. Remember, prevention's key. Treatments can take 4 to 6 months to see results, so you want to get on this now. When it comes to your hair, save more, spend less. If you're ready to take action and prevent hair loss, go to keeps.com/boyscast to receive your first month of treatment for free. That's keeps.com/boyscast to get your first month free. Keeps.com/boyscast. Also, we're going to tell you about the good friends of ours from Canada, Fume. You've heard about them. We've been telling you about them. Fume, it's pronounced fume, but it's got 2 dots over the U, which is very cool.
Yeah.
That's some cool spelling right there.
It's pronounced fume.
If you're smoking, vaping, and you want to quit, you want to get on one of these things. They're these little pipes. You use them. I do them when I'm editing. I kick around with these little pipes, so they're kind of rule.
You're a pipe man.
I use them when I'm editing. This is my editing position, right? I put the thing on my lap, and I put my feet up, and then a lot of times I'll do it with one hand, and then I just have one of the fumes.
Nice.
Yeah, so I like them.
Sounds relaxing.
If you want to get off, if you're a past smoker, if you want to quit, sometimes that can be hard for you. Maybe someone that smokes, you want to tell them about it. But Fume is unique because it is a natural inhaler designed for better, safer, and natural way to quit cigarettes. It's a no smoke, no vape, no nicotine replacement for the hand-to-mouth habit of smoking. Fume handcrafts wooden inhalers and uses cores. The cores are very cool, lots of different ones infused with plant oils studied to curb cravings. They have flavors like peppermint, conker, and minty notes to stimulate menthol cigarettes if you like that. If you're that type of guy.
Yeah.
And flavors like cozy chai, lemon berry bliss for a sweeter experience. And all the flavors 100% natural, no chemicals, and they're fun to dick around with, and they help you quit smoking. No artificial flavors, absolutely no nicotine. Thousands of reviews. If you're at the airport, it's a big thing. Some people are like, oh, I want to smoke, but you can't do that stuff at the airport. So if you fly all the time, being able to use fume in the airport is a huge difference maker. And someone might come up to you and you go, you can't smoke. And then you can say, I'm not, you dumb, make them flinch sort of situation. Whether you are a smoker or ex-smoker who struggles with cravings, Fume is the perfect tool for you. Head to breathefume.com/boyscast and use the promo code boyscast to save 10% off your entire order. That's 10% of your entire order when you head to breathefume.com/boyscast and use the code Boyscast. Quit naturally with Fume with the code Boyscast to save 10% at breathefume.com/boyscast. Okay, so I actually did a deep dive on TikTok and some other places going through a lot of these multiple personality things, right?
Yep.
So we've been a little ahead of the curve on this stuff in the sense that it's like really popping off.
Having multiple personalities?
Buddy, do you know how it kind of you would hear about people being like trans a little bit and now it's all you hear about? This I got 40 personalities business is very hot right now.
Yeah. 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 I mean, it kind of seems like a natural extension of the trans stuff. Like for someone who's constantly like, yeah, my gender's this, my gender's that.
Yeah.
What depends what day you catch me on, it has a new gender. And then you go, yeah, it makes sense. You have now pivoted.
I've been saying it, there's a little arrogant where you go, oh, so are you a boy or girl? You go, I am neither boy or girl. I am everything. I am nothing. I am water. I am wind.
Okay, well, that'll be $3.75 for the coffee. Just needed a name for the cup.
I am mass. I am air. I am John. I am Jane. I am, no, what is it? I am Jessica. I am Rachel. I am, well, I'm trying to do the Mambo number 5 one. A little bit, I'm on it. That's what it's like. So Bill's coming. I am not Bill. I am Monica. I am Jessica.
Here we go.
I am a sinner. I'm a saint. I do not feel ashamed. That's this person where you go, how many person? I am Bill. I am Nancy. I am James. I am Tony. I am Terry. I am Brames. I'm also Aaron James. I am. So that's
the one thing I'll say about these disassociative people, though, that it's different from the gender stuff.
No, of course
they're not asking you to do anything about it.
Okay, that's true.
Well, this is the main thing, and I go.
They might be asking you to call them all the different names, but they might be in its infancy.
Yeah,
they might
but
want
you know what
10
I'm saying?
passports in the future.
But it is. It kind of was like the joke that Ricky Gervais made, where if you go like I'm a pram or what I identify as a pram, and you go like you can't call anything mental, right? Like that's what he was saying is you can't. Nothing's crazy anymore. Like,
okay,
all things are not crazy, and like with this kind of thing where you're like you're just it's crazy, but the imposition of the gender stuff was people are like you have to do something, like you have to do something, whereas these people are just kind of being like, yeah, I'm crazy.
Right. So that's the good question. Is it
now will they get to the point where they're like, yeah, you have to do all this stuff?
Well, this is in the post.
Me.
I have 10 personalities. They all have their own names, ages, and opinions. So ages is always a little risque, if you know what I mean. You see a grown man that's like, no, I'm 8. Like you go,
well, one of me is 8.
But that's where you get into some little trouble when you start identifying as 8. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or you get out of trouble.
A man's revealed he suffers from a rare personality disorder where his identity is split into 10 different personalities, all with different names, ages, and opinions. And that man is named Dana Carvey.
It'd be fucking sick if this guy, because he's obviously like
master of disguise for sure.
Turtle. If you see the photo of him, he's got blue hair. Like what you think, spacers?
Yeah.
It'd be fun if one of his personalities was like MAGA.
MAGA Trump,
right?
yeah.
Like if you had
You're
one,
right.
Why are they all? Why do you have
They're
10?
all variations of the same
Yeah,
personality.
yeah. Why do you have 10 personalities that all have the exact same politics? You know what I'm saying? Like, why
Even
is there
the 8-year-old.
Yeah, like even the 8-year-old's just like, yeah, get me on puberty blockers. You go, really? You guys are all just
all
nobody
10 of
has
you.
any sort of different thoughts about any of this stuff.
That's such a good point that all 10 personalities like fucking love Hill Dog.
Yeah, you know, you're like,
Yeah, you don't have one personality that's like really getting into some raise IQ talk.
like exactly. You know, like
And you wake up
skulking on 8chan.
Yeah, you wake up and he's on it. You know, every time you wake up, why are none of your personalities waking up and they've been posting Pepe memes everywhere?
Yeah, you know,
what I
like
mean?
why are they all just?
That's so funny that she goes to sleep as Aaron and just posts her thing, posts her TikToks like, okay guys, blah blah blah, and then wakes up and she comes to and she's been watching Jordan Peterson.
yeah,
you know?
but
Well, she says, Stocky says the 10 personalities are
it's a he. By
what?
This
It's a guy. Yeah, it's a gay guy.
Oh, he says she.
Yeah, it's a gay guy. I am Kovu. I am Hector. I am Anna. I am Cosmo. I am Ash and Jesse. Leo. Billy Live in Red. I actually got them all in.
Not bad.
So that was all the things. So Kovu, I assume that's sort of like a karate guy. He's Kovu's the 4-year-old.
Kova's a 4-year-old. Do you think they showed up all at once?
That's
Or do
true.
they
Or was it
trickle
a
in?
party?
Like, do they trickle in?
Like Hector came and he goes, "Hey, heard there's a party."
Yeah, kinda, he goes,
That's
"Hey."
a little weird that some of his, they're all of different races too. Because like Hector can't be just, "It is me, Hector."
give him a Russian accent.
Right, so it starts out, it was just Kovu. It's just me, Kovu.
So
I'm
he has
4 years
some
old.
women.
It is me now, Hector.
Some of them are women.
Anna, so he does have some personalities that are Anna's, just like normal 16-year-old girl, just want to go to the mall. Cosmo, oh, I'm here. So he goes, it's Hector. He's like,
I can't taste these Mackinac peaches.
yeah. Cosmo could be causing some problems. Oh, I'm TikToking. Jerry. The TikTok's being turned down. I think I'm shadow banned, Jerry.
It's funny though, they say Leonard Stockel has been diagnosed with dissociate identity disorder, a rare psychiatric condition. Don't seem that rare.
It doesn't seem that rare anymore. No. I think they're sort of like a boy band, all his personalities. You know what I mean? Like Cosmo's the quirky one.
Yeah,
Jesse's the cute one. He's the Nick Carter of the group. Billy's he's like Kevin. He's like a little too old to be there.
I can't remember I think Mark Little had a joke about
Red's
that.
Red's the gangster guy.
Where like every boy band had just like some dude who was like 45. Mm-hmm. It was like 4 kids and then like
Joey Fatone.
Yeah, and just like some old man.
Remember when Joey Fatone was coming out to the comedy show?
Yeah, he was kicking around Toronto.
I got a couple pictures with Joey Fatone. Yeah, Liv, but it's sort of a boy band. They've all got their own personalities. He goes, Leo, who lives in Munich, Germany. I've been with, and he's been with his partner Massimo since October 2020. So he has a boyfriend who's, dating the. And he goes, we live with Massimo, and he's the main person looking after us. Each altar has their own relationship with my boyfriend. One of the altars hated him at first. That's good. Who do you think hated him? It was your guess, Hector?
I'm gonna go with
Hector,
Cosmo.
No, because I think Hector was homophobic. You know what I mean? Maybe that's what he said. Because Hector is like, I don't want to be fucking this dude. He's like, why you make me fuck a guy,
maybe
bro?
He does have a one-based fucking altar.
No, he's not even. He's just like a normal Mexican guy, right? He's like, I don't want to suck a dick, bro.
It's like that.
Yo, bro, why you making me
taste good?
Yeah, don't taste good sucking dick, bro. He's trying to be more pleasant, but it doesn't always work. So Hector's been trying to be more pleasant to the boyfriend when he has to blow him and stuff like that, but he's not that. I guess that is true, though, if you had to get essentially raped by Massimo.
Yeah. This isn't not fun.
We have a very young alter that hasn't met him. Well, I wouldn't. That's literally my joke. Where Massimo Massimo's having sex and he goes, guess what? I'm the 4-year-old.
There you go. Can we bring back Leo?
Yeah, he's Benjamin buttoning as you're having sex with him. But it can be difficult for my boyfriend when there's a younger person fronting while we are together. Yeah, I guess that would be the case where he's you're out with he's talking on the phone to his parents. He's like, or no, he's calling he's talking to like anyone that doesn't know him, and it's like, yeah, I'm 4 years old. My boyfriend's 50. I don't know if you want to do anything about that. Hector's a very excited kid. He loves stuffed animals, always gets excited about going to the gym. He's just a normal 4-year-old. Anna suffers from anorexia. So interesting. So Anna doesn't want to eat, but it's like, probably shouldn't be a problem for you since 9 other people don't suffer from
pretty healthy appetites.
It's so good being like, oh, I'm anorexic. That's
I think
probably
Anna's doing you a favor. 'Cause
Yeah.
everybody else is like, oh, time for dinner. And you go, you've eaten 7 dinners already.
Yeah, but you go, okay, I have anorexia. It's like, well, it doesn't really matter because there's 9 of you and one of them doesn't have anorexia, so it shouldn't be a problem, should it? And we have a very young alter. So he goes, she suffers from anorexia, which makes it hard for her to front. So she doesn't get much uptime because he's always eating, you know?
Yeah.
Cosmo's rowdy. Oh, yeah, he is. Ooh, I'm an alter.
Oh, I'm an altar, Jerry.
Oh, I'm an alter, Jerry. Slightly, Cosmo, he says, is a rowdy, slightly flirty teenager who gets in trouble, actually, in reality. So,
You think they've ever had some sort of awkward moment, him and Cosmo, where they're in, in the bathroom together? They go, Cosmo, not now.
I don't know, Cosmo. Cosmo sort of sounds problematic if you actually think about it. Hector's a very excited kid, and he goes, Ash is a little sunshine who loves to go on vacation and explore the world. So that must suck. They all 9 of them have to go on vacation together. They go to the fancy meal, buy expensive thing, and then Ash takes over the body and just fucking throws it in the garbage.
I mean, the one thing I'll say about
Ash
this kid,
pukes it, but no, that Cosmo's eating the meal and Ash keeps puking it back out.
no, it's Anna.
Anna keeps puking it back up. Jesse's sort of the quiet, very kind. So they do have boy band personalities. He goes, she's the sunshine. Jesse's the quiet one. Isn't this how they describe a boy band? This is how they would describe like a J-pop band. You know what I mean? K-pop band. She often takes care of the body. Billy's one of our protectors. He often takes care of our safety while we're outside. He doesn't talk a lot and can be verbally aggressive sometimes. So Billy...
He doesn't talk a lot, but also can be verbally aggressive. Picks his spots. I like him.
But he would never harm anyone. So Billy, well, I guess what would that look like? Punching yourself in the face, I guess, right?
I guess. Or you punch someone else and you go, no, it was... You instantly snap out of it and then be like, no, that wasn't me.
Yeah. Liv is our sexual protector, and she knows when someone gets too close to us, what she can handle every situation. It's like, okay, but you're in a relationship with a dude, so... Red is the oldest of our systems. So Red is, kind of like a old black comic, I think. I
think it's literally from Shawshank Redemption.
It's Red from...
Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
It's literally, he probably watched Shawshank.
Leah, listen up, Ash. I'll tell you what, we're going to be eating that food whether you like it or not, okay?
Out in the yard, we didn't get much food. So when it came and the going was good, we ate our food.
Yeah.
Now get back to work.
And then he switches and he pukes. Red's trying to...
Now get back to work.
She takes care of a lot of things: showers, chores, cleaning, paperwork, and
Red's a woman.
Money.
Oh, it's just mom.
Yeah, I guess Red's a woman. I would never choose.
Oh,
to live
so it's
without
Red
the
from
alters.
the Orange Is the New Black.
Okay, yeah.
The Russian lady.
The Russian lady. They are my family, my best friends, my team, and I wouldn't ever be able to live without them. So that's that.
Yeah. That's a great diagnosis. You're the boyfriend. You're like, can we get this maybe like fixed with some medication? He goes, I can never live without all of them.
What are you kidding me? Oh yeah, you think I'm just gonna leave Red in the dust? Oh, I'll tell you who wouldn't like that. Our protector Billy. You start, that's how you get fucking end up with a black eye. You start telling him, hey, listen, we're gonna fucking give Billy an exorcism.
Yeah, I do feel bad for this guy because he does seem like legitimately just bonkers. Like it's not. So. But I mean, maybe, I don't. Well, but he's like
maybe Jen's a little bonkers, but Billy sounds all right.
But I'm more sympathetic for this than the people who are like, I identify as a cake or whatever, and then you're just like, shut up. You're like, this is.
But also, it's just like sounds like he just has different moods.
Yeah,
literally, you go. Bill, because all of them are, no personality is one thing. And then they've just separated all of the different parts of their personality into people.
Yeah.
Where you go, Jim likes to eat. And it was like, but what else does he do? Just eat. Whenever I'm eating, I'm Jim. And it's like, Billy likes to, he protects us. So it's like, okay, so anytime there's a threat, you're Billy. But it's like, these are all parts of the same personality.
Do you think that
you could say that too, where you go, Jimmy's when you're eating, so Jimmy be getting a lot of time.
Jimmy been eating.
Bathhouses, that's not me. That's when I just do my bathhouse trips. That's Hector. So anyone could sort of say
this guy's saying we need authentic movies and documentaries about people with this disorder. Do you think? I mean, you would think so, that you have to have someone who has the disorder. Like
I think they'd have had these sort of movies.
But I'm saying, but now
they're not favorable.
They're not favorable. Now you need a favorable one.
They're villains.
But then you also need it played by someone with this.
No, I think
Which that would be
getting into some
tough,
touchy
wrangling
territory.
that talent. Huh?
Unless this guy has the ability to pick him, he's able to put them up like, Billy, you're up.
Yeah.
I'm Billy. I'm a sinner. I'm a saint. No Hector today.
I mean, there'll be no shortage of actors who go, yeah, I have multiple personalities.
Yeah. Fucking
Pussy chicks.
trying to get famous and then fucking people for roles.
It wasn't me who fucked anybody for a role. It was Robert.
John, yeah. Breaking news. Extra. Read all about it. During the podcast, we've just been sent a red alert. The Johnny Depp trial has come in. And
we got a verdict.
you probably already know, but yes.
They do know.
Yes, everyone, you say the news might have got out?
Yeah, the news has been out for 48 hours.
The news has probably been out less than 48 hours, but the news will be out. Some of you may know. But I thought it was interesting. So basically, they awarded him more money than her.
He got 10 million. She got 2 million. Do you think it's because of the wage gap?
Uh-huh.
Is that a wage gap thing?
But, so I was going to talk about this article anyway, but Vice did this article that went really viral. Like, we've all failed Amber Heard, right?
Yeah.
And it's just interesting how they looked at the whole thing, because their whole business is like, this is bad for abuse victims or whatever, right? But like they're like, people aren't going to come forward because people are being mad at Amber Heard. And it's like, not once in the whole article did they mention like, well, what if she lied? Like, it's like they do not care.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
You go, the whole thing was, it's a court of law. All of the information is like kind of out there now, and a jury of peers, and like there's never been a more publicized thing. It's like these people that have like tried in the court of a public opinion. There's nothing that they hate more than like a televised trial where all the information gets out.
For sure. And I mean, again, you're like, yeah, he's the more famous guy and he has more fans, and yeah, she's gonna get. She's she's the girl bump, and she was getting the girl bump up into this point. I mean, this is why. What he's saying is true. He got kicked off Pirates of the Caribbean, like all this stuff. Yeah, I mean, that's why he had to do this.
Right.
This is probably like this was kind of the
huge win for Johnny Depp.
I wonder that. I honestly, I see this and they go, okay, Johnny Depp won. And you're like, so people are going to be like, all right, Johnny, let's hire Johnny Depp again.
Maybe, I don't know. But at least they're at least this, I mean, you're right. It's not like a court of law. It's a different type of court, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, still, I don't think there's any criminal proceedings that can happen, but I'm just saying like, sometimes you go, okay, he was vindicated, like John Gomeshi, right? John Gomeshi's, okay, you're innocent. Can I have my job back? And they're like, no. No, you cannot have your job back.
No, you cannot. I don't know. Johnny Depp's a big movie.
He's like,
star.
can I do a podcast? They're like, no.
I think at the very least it's murky enough where Johnny Depp could be back in the mainstream.
Yeah.
But
he still probably has to sit out a bit.
He was already still making some movies. He just didn't get to be a pirate anymore.
Yeah. I didn't even know that he had been kicked off.
Well, as Johnny Depp and Amber Heard defamation case plays out in Virginia court, this is what they said. A separate trial was happening online where the verdict skews heavily towards Depp being the real victim. But it's like one thing these people aren't realizing, in a culture where that's generally not the case. Like, I guess they would argue, actually, everyone always takes the men's side, but it's like, if you think in the last 4 years, if a girl and a guy were like arguing over domestic stuff, like the instinct is to take the guy's side. Yeah. Like, what are you
in a domestic violence thing?
Yeah, what are you? Of course not. That's just not the case. But it's like they think that, right? For weeks, memes were calling her a liar and a psychopath and manipulator. It's like she got busted lying a bunch of times on the stand. Like, what are you talking about? They make fun of her hair, outfits, and facial expressions, and at times even wish her dead. And you go, yeah, and her fans probably do that to him. And way worse to like other people this is what happens on the internet.
Yeah, and their whole thing is they're like, oh, it's unfair. He has more fans.
Dude, I've gotten plenty of like death threats, I hope you die, and comments like that. It's just like...
Yeah, I know. I sent them.
Yeah.
Those are my burners.
Yeah, the burners. On TikTok alone, iJustice for Johnny hashtag has been viewed 16.3 billion times. It's almost like they're kind of now being forced to make the argument. Like, I don't really like the idea that people are deciding things publicly. It should be up to the courts. You know what I mean? Like, well, everyone's jumping to their own conclusions when, if anything, you should let the courts make their decision. And
can we get the side by side of this and fucking Kyle Rittenhouse?
Yeah. Are we back to the basics where you go, we don't want people to make their opinions beforehand?
Yeah, Vice just goes with the wind.
Yeah, and also, this is not, it's like he's being accused of something and then the information's getting out. So they said, compared to 53.6 million for justice for Amber Heard, which isn't as many. It's like people are watching the trial and
they're making up their mind.
Guilty, which is a lot better. To be honest, there's a big difference between she posted on one article and he posted on one article and there's no rebuttal and everyone makes up their mind. At least most people making up their mind have watched hours of footage.
Yeah, 20 hours of a trial.
Yeah, it's like this is the most people are actually kind of doing a deep dive into something.
I mean, if the OJ trial was going on right now and there was TikTok, there'd be a fucking justice for OJ hashtag that had way less.
Of course, yeah. Today, maybe who knows about that? There's a lot of people were on board with OJ.
But I think justice for Nicole would be the one that had the more hashtags.
In these racially charged times, I don't know, my friend. Today, the judgment in our group chats at the bar, and may even come up at dinner, that people, even if she wins at court, some people are going to think she's still guilty. And it's like, well, she didn't really win in court. And second of all, he's like, even if she wins in court, people might think that. You go, you saying that's a problem?
Yeah.
Are you saying to me?
What do you think about Brett Kavanaugh? What are your opinions on Brett Kavanaugh? Is he a rapist?
Are you telling me that you think there might be some sort of a problem with winning in court and public not believing that? That is some wild stuff right there. At least some of the pro Johnny content comes from right wing sources like Ben Shapiro. So they said even some of the people. That's funny. It's like they go. They said how many hashtags? 16.3 billion times people shared it. One of them was Ben Shapiro.
Therefore,
that's her argument.
All wrong.
That's her point. Yeah, she goes, 16 billion people have shared this hashtag, including Ben Shapiro of the Daily Wire. That's what they said. And
I'm officially pro Amber Heard.
Oh yeah, I think that's
Justice,
the worst article ever.
Amber.
Yeah. And be like, okay, well, look at there's this guy that's in the KKK that thought Amber Heard's fucking innocent because she hates Johnny Depp because he's a race mixer. Oh God! Several gender-based justice advocates have told Vice News that Heard should be believed. So,
I mean, I will say this:
that's what they think. Obviously,
fucking I don't know. Does Amber Heard have social media? I imagine she does.
I think so. Probably.
If you're the type of person who's DMing Amber Heard to be like, "Fuck you," I'm Team Johnny Depp. Yeah, you're mental.
Yeah,
that's a crazy.
Anyone
thing
who's sending anyone DMs on any of that sort of nonsense.
Yeah, because you're just like you
psychopath.
took a side of something that has nothing to do with you. You're just like, I saw the first.
Stans get Stanny though.
I guess.
Especially to those big movie stars, man. Like, it's real. I told you, I felt it when I was making fun of Will Smith. Out of everything I've done, that was always the most aggressive, where I legitimately opened my inbox and it's 300 people being like, you're a fucking piece if I ever see you in public, buddy.
Talking shit about Will Smith.
Yeah.
I guess.
I'm sure Amber Heard has a ton of people that are like that. So, but yeah, she goes, this is how they try to say it. They go, Ben Shapiro thought that Heard might be guilty, whereas the justice advocates said that Heard should be believed. And you go, okay, well, what about your average normal person that's having these conversations in a diner, like you said? And they go, it's probably being influenced by Ben Shapiro. It's like, well, why is no one being influenced by your justice advocate activists?
Well, they're supposed to be influenced. That's the whole point of it.
They're being influenced by the wrong one.
If anything, they're like, people aren't being influenced enough.
Yeah, there's an old saying that's like, most people's principles, at some point, they'll always think the ends justify the means. Like, the truth is, most people have any sort of principles, and then at some point, they'll go, yeah, but in this case, it end justifies the means, and everyone kind of has that point somewhere, for the most part. Maybe there's some people that, don't, but It just matters where. These people have no principles. Like, at least I think most people that when you're kind of saying like, I normally think this, but the same reason why you see a lot of like right-wing people sort of grapple with what to do about censorship online and how the government should be involved. The some ones that aren't necessarily conservative, more like liberty, more whatever, right? They at least like are kind of having those conversations in their mind about like, yeah, I know this seems to go against kind of what I think, but maybe they try to at least
they're trying to have a nuance.
Well, they want their brain to make sense, right? Most people like want their brain to make sense. Like this person has no problem writing 8,000 articles where it's like, we don't need the courts to decide. And then like writing an article being like, actually, we should wait for the courts to, like, that seems like they grapple with it. You know what I mean? Like, if I feel like
it's their systems.
Exactly.
They go, yeah, that was fucking Jeff who thinks that. Me, Mark, I don't think that. And that's who you're talking to right now.
Yeah, you're doing
my alters.
Yeah, you're right. Jeffrey did say that. Heard's case is the potential to shape how young people understand sexual and domestic violence. In this, I guess in the sense that if you just like publicly defame people and the evidence doesn't make sense, that they can take you to court.
Yeah.
I mean
that's
it might have, it might shape like defamation claims to some degree, but this isn't like, he's not under trial for domestic violence right now.
No, he's not under trial, and there's no.
She's on trial.
Well, it's a civil trial, and I mean, she sued him first, from the sounds of it, and then, or did he sue her first? I don't know.
No, this is his defamation trial. She countersued.
Oh, she countersued. Oh, okay, and it's because she wrote this thing. But yeah, I mean, again, he's trying to rehabilitate his persona, which is his livelihood.
Yeah, but
this is all just kind of around that.
But the moral of the story is their argument don't make sense because they go, Heard's case has the potential to shape how young people understand domestic violence. 1/3 of TikTok users are between 10 and 19, and more than half are women. So they'll undoubtedly see this content, blah, blah. But it's like none of these arguments have anything to do with whether it's right or wrong. I mean, you could make the argument very easily that, okay, we're going to lock up people that are suspected terrorists. And you could very easily make that argument. Yeah, but I mean, obviously if we stop a few, then that's good. Or it's like, criminals, we didn't give him a fair trial, but like, this guy was innocent, but the police planted evidence on him, but he has a history anyway, so it's probably safer. Like as soon as you're making an argument where enforced crime based on...
Yeah, it's the giving up freedom for safety thing.
Yeah, and it's like, you don't understand that now you're... Like, I'm sure that these people are all for, like, bail reform and all that stuff, right? You're essentially making an argument that people should be convicted before innocence. And you're just like, well, what about, like, a gang member? Should they? No. But like an actor that was accused of punching should be. Okay, what about a gang leader that punched his wife? Should he be guilty before innocent? Brain explodes.
Yeah, depends what his race is.
Yeah.
I mean, the moral, if there's one real takeaway from this whole thing is, for guys, it is not a trivial thing which woman you wind up with. You pick the wrong one.
Pick the right wife.
Yikes! If you picked the wrong one, that was I remember.
Yeah, you had that weird thing where you picked a guy by accident.
Yeah, whoops. I mean, sometimes blind taste tests you get fooled. But that was like Artie Lang said on some podcast. His dad was like to Artie Lang, he's like, it's the number one thing. It's just you got to pick the right broad.
Yeah,
and this is a good.
Do you think that you could do a taste test? I was arguing that I could if I had blindfolded 10 cans where it was Coke, Diet Coke, Pepsi, Diet Pepsi, Coke Zero, regular Coke. All those 6 that I could tell with the taste.
Could, yeah.
As long as it's in a can, no straw, no bottle. Once you start putting them in bottles and stuff like that,
it has to be like in a cup or something.
No, I need it in a can. As soon as you put it in a cup, I would lose my powers a little bit.
You need it in a can, okay.
If you drink a can of Diet Coke and you put it in like a cup, it changes it a little bit.
Okay. I mean, that's fine as long as it's consistent.
They have to be in cans.
Yeah.
But I think I could do it. Do you think you could?
I mean, we're going to do it on this podcast, so.
Yeah. I mean, that's not the best content, I don't think.
Maybe for the Patreon.
Yeah, that's not really that would turn this channel into like a blind taste test channel. That's a little wacky.
Yeah. I mean, because
That's a little YouTube-y.
Pepsi's way sweeter, so the super sweet one's Pepsi. Yeah.
Gonna take another quick second here to tell you about Sunday. Now, Sunday is a company that Al Bundy would definitely like.
I like Sunday.
This is a company for a man, not suburban or city boys, the godless city boys like me and Danny that live in shoe boxes in Manhattan for $8,000 a day.
Not only do we not have lawns, I haven't seen a lawn.
I've never even seen a lawn.
No lawns.
But one day I will have one. I have had one in the past. And so you want to get on Sunday. A lot of our fans have actually messaged us and said that they've used it, and it's actually really cool. So it's hard to imagine, but spring is getting here. We're close to feeling that soft grass. But first, you need to get your lawn back. You don't want to be the embarrassment of the town. Thankfully, Sunday gets your lawn back growing and helps you keep it healthy all season long. If you're worried about chemicals you're using for your lawn to keep it looking best, traditional lawn care lays down 90 million pounds of pesticide every year. Puke! Yeah. Sunday's different. They're on a mission to change how people care for their yards. Most of us might not think about our lawns in the winter, but now is the time to prep for it. You're probably thinking you have so much work to do to get it green and healthy again, but Sunday takes the work away from it so you can just grow a beautiful lawn without the guesswork. So the custom plans include fertilizer and everything you need, and you just they give you pouches and you put it on your nozzle. And what happens is you go to sunday.com, put in your address, their lawn analysis tool does the rest. It knows the climate, the soil data, and the personal nutrient plan it gives you delivered to your door when you need it. Just attach the ready-to-use pouch to the garden hose and spray, and it takes less than 15 minutes. And best of all, this stuff really works, fellas. The Sunday is offering our listeners 20% off. Full season plans start at $129, and you can get 20% off at checkout when you visit getsunday.com/boyscast. If you want a banging lawn, that's 20% off your custom plan at getsunday.com/boyscast.
Yeah.
I think I could tell. But, okay, this is what I've been, probably one of our better ones. So there's a Reddit for people that are nudists, right? And it's got a whole bunch of people in it. And it's Reddit Nudism. And a lot of them are family oriented, right? So it's these people that their identity is based around being, naked all day, right?
Yeah.
It's like, what are you into? It's like not having my clothes on. That's kind of the thing.
Don't you hate pants?
It's don't you hate pants, right?
The movement.
My favorite one I got a couple of is the dads asking advice and stuff like that. They're having, a lot of them is like, some of the things are funny because there's a few of the threads that are people being like, hey, I'm having trouble because, sometimes I feel awkward when I'm wearing clothes, like, and I don't really like it. Do you have any tips? And it was like, well, it sounds like you don't want to be a nudist.
Yeah.
Why do it then?
Sounds like you're just a pervert.
Yeah, but it's like, why be a nudist if you don't want to? There's like, I'm kind of feeling like, it's like with the polar bears, like, what? You don't want to be a nudist anymore? Too nude for you? But this dad says, so it starts with this is a daughter. She goes, I'm 15. My nudist family is starting to make me feel uncomfortable. And there is probably nothing that would be more awful than being a normal person and your parents are nudists.
Yeah, you're like dealing with high school and just all the, growing up, all that adolescent stuff. And then you're like, hey, could we go over to your house? He goes, no, why?
You cannot,
my
no.
Parents,
my dad's going to have his dick out.
Nudist, like pick you up from school, go, hey, over here.
Right.
Is he naked?
Well, it's almost I guess it's illegal with other kids.
He picks you up on like a recumbent bike. It's totally nude.
Your dad drives by your school nude, but he rides the bike, and then when he gets there, he coasts with his legs on the handlebar.
Yeah.
Hey, son.
Hey, son. He's got that big fucking dopey flag.
He's got a big dopey flag coming out. But yeah, I guess with your own kids, because remember there was that mom that was showing her tits to all her son's friends because she's a nudist, and she did like get arrested for it.
Yeah, well, there's certainly...
Dude, if you're a dad and you have daughters that are 13 years old, and their 7 friends are like downstairs,
just walking
talking, you can't just walk in with your dick out.
No. I don't think they do, though. I don't think they're not that...
They are with their own 13-year-old daughters.
Yeah, because that's not illegal.
But it's one thing, like your daughter, like catching her dad in the shower or something or whatever, walks out the wrong thing. But there's another thing of like, your dad busting into your room, dick out, hands behind his head, like
They're like, we need to talk about
you
something.
doing your homework. Yeah. He's standing like
your teacher just called, gets the leg up.
he's trying to give you, like he's giving you a hug, and then he's naked.
His balls are pressed against you. Yeah,
It's insane,
not
right?
good. And then-
Bush. These people have bushes.
Oh, big bush. Worse if they don't.
It almost seems like it's illegal or something. I guess you can with your own kids. You're allowed, because if someone had to make
you're
that
allowed
rule,
to really
though.
fuck up your own kids.
Yeah, that's kind of what it is. It's like, hey, because they're basically, how they have those town halls, I guess, where but not town hall, but wherever they're figuring out laws, right? And then someone's like, all right, we're making a law that you're not allowed to pull your dick out in front of your kids. And someone had to be like, what about my own kids?
Yeah, wait. Even my kids?
Yeah. Like someone had to like argue that, you know what I mean? Like, can we do it with our own kids? And they're like, why? No question, no reason.
That would make them really entertaining. It just reminded me, it would make some very entertaining kind of like CPAC politics stuff, was if they brought up just as a exercise the age of consent, just so there would be
You'd love that, wouldn't you,
just to
if they
watch
tried
a
to lower that
debate.
puppy?
No, just to watch a debate on the floor where if someone wants to go,
It's impossible.
I want to raise it just 1 year, and then you force someone to go debate like 16.
It's the oldest trick in the book, yeah.
But you're just forced to watch two sides debate this, and everybody's like, ugh.
Well, there's all those things. The same reason why like it's kind of illegal to like have sex with like a relative or whatever.
What?
Yeah, I know, right? We're all fucking going to jail. But it doesn't really, there's no real reason for it, because I guess the whole thing was like for babies or whatever. And
Yeah,
you
it
go,
fucks up the kids.
But then if you go, okay, but what if they're both barren? Like, you know what I mean? Like, could you say, what if we both can't get pregnant or whatever? Like something like that, right? But then I guess you just have to have the laws anyway. But again, the real reason is because who's going to make that their cause?
Yeah.
Like there's these things where it's very difficult to be the guy in parliament, being like,
I think
should
people
be 15.
I think people who do incest they're like, you just kind of do it. We don't talk about it too much. You're not making it the hill you die on. They just do it.
I guess, but some people it's like their wife, right? Like
Yeah.
some,
I mean, there's the thing too, where if you live in small communities, where like I think it is pretty normal to marry your like a second cousin, just 'cause you have no choice.
you always have a choice, Danny. No. Just like you always have a choice to pull your fucking hammer out in front of your daughter. So this girl is at 15. She's had enough of her dad swinging the dick around. She goes, I grew up in a nudist family, so I'm used to it. We hang out with some families. We hang out with some other families with a similar lifestyle. So now they are seeing other guys' dicks. So she's been seeing like all these dudes' dongs forever, right?
I guess the problem is because you're like, well, we're nudists, and here's my 6-year-old, and 6-year-olds are generally nudists too.
One of the dads,
But then you keep doing it, and then eventually the kids are like, this.
One of the dads was saying that 2 of his kids aren't that nude, and he's having a problem with it. And then he was saying his 6-year-old or 3-year-old is a nudist, and he's like, that is just like the 3-year-old's running around with no clothes on, and he's like has a tear in his eye, like
I'll chip off the old block.
So yeah, the parents having an intervention for the kid, where they bring you home and they're like, sit down. The parents all got their fucking clothes off and they go, we need to talk.
What the hell is this?
Wait, yeah, it's a turtleneck.
It's a shirt.
Old enough a turtleneck.
Where the fuck did you get this from?
What the fuck is this? We hang out with some families who have a similar lifestyle, and we go to beaches or whatever. I haven't really put much thought into it since it was a natural part of my life. Recently, though, I've started to feel a little more uncomfortable now that I'm, a 15-year-old and I've got my dad and his buddies' dicks like in my face. I was in the couch and my dad came and talked to me with his dick at eye level, and something was a little strange about that. Just recently, a tiny amount of awkwardness and uncomfortable feelings. I recently turned 15, so teen awkwardness might be just the reason. Maybe it's just that I'm 15, but I'm not entirely sure. I'm sure my parents wouldn't have any problems with me not wanting to be a part of the lifestyle. But they'd be probably disappointed. But at the same time, I'm not sure if it's just my teen awkwardness. To clarify my ramblings, I don't know if I'm actually uncomfortable with it or it's something I should just ignore. I'm not even sure these posts are allowed here. But this is where I say, if you're saying, you go, hey, I don't think I want to be nude anymore, just put some clothes on. Sort of end of story, I guess, right? Because that's the thing.
But I guess if you're going to the nudism retreat.
Well, yeah, you go, I don't want to go to a nudism retreat. You don't have to.
And you're like, then like the friends of the parents are going to be like, What's going on with your kid?
They're so embarrassed of her, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he goes, your kid's a clothy? Jeez.
No, but it really is. They're all the parents get together and they're just like, did you hear about Janice's kid? He's got clothes on. And they're like, what the fuck did you say? What'd you say about my daughter? Nothing. Nothing. I just started shopping the other day.
All I say is it's just I've never seen her naked. I don't know.
Yeah. Just like a fat, old fucking 55-year-old man. Like, I don't know. I just think it's a little bit funny that I haven't seen your daughter snatch. You take that back. You've seen it before. She'll be here tomorrow showing you her snatch. Just me and the guys were talking.
Yeah, maybe.
I seen your wife snatch. Seen your boy's dick. Never seen your daughter snatch. You don't think that's a little weird?
Seen all my kids naked.
You seen all my kids naked. Close context, too. Wrote a CD with my daughter on your lap. She's 14 years old.
Nudism world's dicey.
Nudism is insane. It's hard to get my kids into nudism. This person wants to get his daughter into the nude. So this is the dad kind of probably writing his own article right beside her, being like,
yeah. He goes, yeah, well, I'll fucking use my own Reddit account.
My daughter showed up with socks on the other day. The part is, too, they always like, there are a lot of them are saying things like, and other people think that there's some sexual component because they're crazy. And you're just like, okay, if you think your 14-year-old boy isn't like walking around and there's all these titties in his face and he's like, and there's no sexual component, it's like, give me a break.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing is generally everybody's just gross, but.
Late 20s, single dad here, visited a couple resorts, places over the year, long time nudie, first time poster. We as adults know that nudity and sexuality are not synonymous. That's what he says. He goes, we as adults know that like being naked has absolutely nothing to do with being naked. In fact, I put clothes on when I have sex.
I mean, I will agree with him if it's around your own sex and you're heterosexual.
Exactly.
Generally not in the changing room being like, holy fuck.
No, but if I was naked with like 10 girls,
if I
would have a little something to do
I'm
with
saying
sexuality.
If I walked into the women's change room and then people were all naked, I'd be like,
Yeah, it wouldn't just be business as usual. You would be doing this. Mental figures. The kids, but he's blaming it on society. He goes, because of the society we live in, some of these kids don't have a distinction. It's like a 15-year-old boy sees some titties and he's like, that's fucking hot. He goes, this is the society we're living in. My fucking son can't have a pair of titties jiggling in his face without thinking sexual thoughts.
Disgusting.
What does this dad do? So
it's like my son cannot watch my friend Barbara on her pogo stick without thinking something sexual. It just makes me sick.
Yeah, they're all bouncing around on like the like balls.
Yeah, it's like, anybody want to go for a pogo?
There's nothing sexual about that. Me and my friends having a helicopter off. Yeah. We have a thing where all of the ladies smash up against the glass and all of a sudden with their titties in his face. And then you put your glass on the other side. How to navigate this potential minefield. No, my oldest is 11. She's figuring herself out. It's just something is just insane about you being like a 50-year-old dad and your daughter's 11 and you're just like fucking, you want her to get naked in front of you.
Yeah. I mean, also just like you're so into like, that's your identity. I mean, everybody needs these dumb identities, but they're like, I'm a nudist.
Well, I guess the only reason you need them to be nude is because it makes you feel less weird about you. Like, you're the weird one.
Well, you can't do some of the things they do.
Like you can't go to the resort.
Yeah, you can't go to the resort. It's a nudist resort.
But like, how do you not know at least you're the weird one? Well, you're a nudist. You go, my daughter's crazy. Like, you know that you're a minority.
Oh, big time.
Yeah, right? The oldest is 11. She's figuring herself out. That weird phase when you start to grow up and act less like a kid and more like an adolescent or young adult. I know this could be tricky. The boys are more complicated. As for I'm no longer with their mother, I still act as a dad. So this is a weekend dad that wants them to get naked. I'll tell you what, that's making it a little stranger.
Funny reply to this comment too is this guy goes, I would start around the house personally, especially at the girl's age. I am a parent, but had 50% custody of my child. And had my ex found out, I would have been back in court in a nanosecond. Hopefully you don't have that problem.
That is true.
Yeah.
If you're a weekend dad and and the daughter goes, how was your dad's house? It's like, yeah, I walked out with his dick out for 2 days straight.
Yeah,
it's
he
like,
doesn't let me wear clothes anymore at the house.
How is visiting your dad? It's like, well, he made me take my clothes off immediately. It's like, you're never going back.
Yeah. For sure. Especially if, I imagine that when these divorces
And then he brought
happen,
me to
that's a factor.
Oh, yeah. So I took my dad to your house.
The guy's constantly trying to get you go to a nudist colony. The chick's like, I don't want to.
So they made me get naked, and then 9 of his buddies were there, and they got naked. He goes, I don't think you're going to your dad's anymore.
Call the police.
Yeah, call the police. My boys are more complicated. The youngest is still at the point before school and absolutely zero modesty. Rather straightforward with that one. So his youngest, who's like 4, he's real proud of walking around naked. Boom, 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 boom. I'm looking for advice from actual parents. If you're not a parent and truly feel like you have good input, that's fine too. This guy is having some nudist problems with his girlfriend. He said, I agreed to take my girlfriend to a nudist beach, and it was a huge mistake. So I'm 24, and his girlfriend's 22. And the holidays in Spain, I took her to this nudist beach that she's never been, but I asked her to go. I don't see the appeal. But she's always been spontaneous and adventurous. One of the things I love about her. So I said, fine, let's go. When I think of a nudist beach, I think of old people. But this one, I was sadly mistaken. So she's saying it's all hot people. And everyone seemed younger than 30, incredible shape and tanned. And apparently, I kept hearing my girlfriend gasp and whisper, oh God. And I made up an excuse because I left. My ego was battered. But she is annoyed and is now saying that she will go back tomorrow without me. So, I mean, that's insane. So basically, I agree that it's all mostly old people or gays. So nudist beach is a lot of gay guys, right? But yes, if you brought your girl to a nudist beach and she's walking around, haba, haba. Like what girls don't even really do. It's like such a caricature of a guy. So yes, if I ever was around like a bunch of naked guys and my girl was wahooga.
Oh, look at that one. Look at that one.
Oh, I'd love to fucking pop that in my mouth.
She goes, I bet that tastes good.
Yeah, your girl's like a fucking, like just such a bro.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Take that donger for a spin right there. She's got the sunglasses on so she could look. Yeah, that one will do, huh?
That'll do.
Yeah. Wow. That's so nuts. And then the next day you go, yeah, I don't want to go again. And she goes, I guess I'll go by myself. So there's some problems with the nude beach if your girl's too into the nude guys.
Yeah.
So I want to go for a naked bike ride, but there's too many creepy guys on camera. Don't let them stop you. If you want to go for naked bike rides, come on, get out there, ride the bike. So you're right. But I got to say, if you're a girl, they're like, if you're going to be, cruising around the city with your titties out, I got to be honest, I think there's going to be a few people.
Yeah, there'll be some people kind of looking at them, yeah.
It's going to be one or two people.
You'll be getting a little unwanted attention or wanted attention.
No one wanted to talk to me on my first trip to the nude resort, so this is another one. I recently went to a nude resort for the first time. The resort having a meet and greet, so I thought it would be perfect time to go and make friends with some other nudies, When I got there, the resort gives you a blue wristband to show that you're a first timer. I would hate to wear a first timer.
First
timer.
I mean, everybody there's like fresh meat.
Fresh meat. I spent several hours there and didn't have anyone to try to have a conversation with. Seemed like everyone was just sticking to their own groups. I'm 24 and I look like the youngest people I saw were probably in their 30s. Did I just have a bad experience? I was excited to meet people. So that is
I forgot to mention I also had an erection the whole time.
But how funny is that to be at the nude beach and you're just like holding your blue wristband in and you're just like all alone.
Hey, people walk by and go, hey! And
That's what it is. You see a group of people, they're all shooting this shit. You're just like, no, someone tells a joke, everyone's laughing, you come in. Well, hey, who are you?
And they just kind of turn their backs.
They'll turn their backs on you. I'll see myself out. That's so funny being at the nude beach by yourself and like you went to make buddies. You thought it was going to be one big nude party, right?
Maybe it is. You just got to weigh it.
Is the loneliest number that you ever did see. So if you think that you're going to the Nudist to make some friends, that's not how it's shaken down.
I mean, other people are saying that they do though. So
no one wanted to make friends.
Remember
with
the
this one?
comedy in Toronto?
Bet you if you're a hot girl, you can make friends pretty easily.
Remember that in Toronto there was a nudist.
Yeah, they used
resort
to do the nude
and
comedy.
They
Yeah.
would have like the comics would go up and.
Did you ever do it?
Yeah. my big closer was when I ejaculated.
Yeah, those things are insane. And there's they do a lot of nude comedy events, naked roast battles. They're all just an excuse for when they did one at Skankfest, the naked roast battle. They're very anyone who like pulls out a phone or anything, like you're kicked out immediately. Like they take all that shit pretty seriously.
That's good at least.
Yeah,
that was the one weird thing when I went to that 11 in Miami, which is like that club/strip club.
Yeah,
and they're very just like everybody has their phone out.
Yeah, I know, so weird.
Because
right?
it's more. They're like this isn't really a strip club, but it is really a strip club.
Mm-hmm.
But they just don't care.
Well, this has been the Boyscast. Make sure to subscribe to our other YouTube channel, and we will see you next week.
Are you going to link it?
Lots of big things coming.
Big things.
Yes, I will link it everywhere I can. Patreon.com/theboyscast. New episode every week. You already know what it is. Thank you for knowing.
And next week we're doing the third hang.
And next week on the Patreon, we will be doing the third live stream for everyone. Thank y'all. Peace.
But we